We just finished the video on how to clean and maintain your Singer sewing machine. So we'll put links below where you can check out all the videos on our Singer Elite ME457. If you've got a Singer sewing machine that looks similar with dials, you can follow along. Most Singer sewing machines are very similar. But on this video, we're going to talk about doing just some basic mending. So there is a stitch here. It's stitch number on the 3rd section, and it's the black stitch. So we are going to be working within the length that shows the black numbers. Is what would happen if you had a rip on your fabric. So first off, number one is you need to have some fabric underneath it. You need to either have some interfacing or a stabilizer or something you're stitching to a base before we do anything. I'm going to just stitch right here just because I'm all set up. And then I'll show you, even if your rip or opening or gap was really big, what happens? How can we really recreate this fabric so it will hold together, whether it's jeans or just something that you actually kind of got caught while walking? That is so easy to take care of. And before I even go on, I actually recently was talking to a group of high schoolers, and I told them a story of somebody that had gone to college, so in their freshman year, as a freshman, had a small sewing machine, something like this, in their dorm room, and would often pull it out and help out with some basic mending or stitching that had come apart, and it was her side hustle. Like, she would pull it out, and so for $5-10 she'd sew up people's clothes and word spread, and she always had some extra pizza money at the end of the day. So here's the mending stitch that she used. So we have picked a multiple point zigzag. So it goes back and forth, not just a full zigzag, because that doesn't have as many stitches, but the multiple point one is going to stitch multiple times each direction. The other thing that we want is we don't want this zigzag to come quickly across our fabric. We want it to kind of be very dense and close together. So start by making your stitch length close-ish, somewhere between 1 and 0, but we'll test this as we get started. Next, especially if you have a fairly big opening, you probably just want to go ahead and go up to one of the wider settings here, 4, 5, or 6. I'll start at 5. Needle positions at the center. You're probably wanting to have some matching thread. So if you were that girl in the dorm room, what color of threads would you want? You would want to have white, black, gray, cream, and you know what my 5th color would be if I could only take 5? I would pick a sage green. I was going to say olive green, but sage green is a color that will blend into a lot of different colors. Of course, take some other ones too, but all in all, you'd be surprised how much you can get away with even just those basic colors. Okay, so the idea is that we're going to stitch down, and then we're going to stitch back. And to stitch back, we're going to hold the reverse button down as we want to do that return trip. I also am going to, because it might be really close together here, is to describe what I sometimes tell my students is, when you're vacuuming, you come down and then you go this way and then you vacuum this way and then you go that way and then vacuum. So you kind of just overlap a little each time. That's what we're going to do with our mending stitch. So whichever way you're going to start, to kind of work your way across the fabric, that's what we're going to do. Okay, so I'm going to just step on the foot control. I'm going to shorten that stitch a little bit, even a little bit more. And then when I want to go back, I'm going to just hold that down and then come back. I'm kind of coming back towards a little this way. And then I could even sink the needle down and just kind of help my fabric get twisted. So there's just lots of stitches that we're putting down. This will give you the idea. Bring your needle to the highest position before you take it out. And when you use that matching thread or very neutral color, look at all the stitches we've just done to recreate and cover up an area that might have been open. Again, remember, you need to have something underneath. You can't just do it on one layer, so another piece of fabric or such. Interfacing would be best, but you need to have something underneath there. So, fun stitch to do. Adjust the length, go for a wider width, lay down some serious thread, and mending is done. And if you like that story, tell a high schooler who's about ready to go off to college that might not be bad. Pack a sewing machine and earn some extra cash at the end of the night.